Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're diving into something really exciting, something I know has been on your mind, planning that big trip to Alaska.
Yeah, Alaska. It's a big one.
We've gone through a ton of sources, travel guides, personal stories, you name it basically, to build a practical toolkit for you. Our mission here is pretty clear. Show you how to see more of Alaska, maybe for less money, and really importantly, how to get the absolute most out of a visit to Denali National Park.
And that mission, it's essential, really, because Alaska, it's not just another spot on the map. It's huge, it's wild.
Right.
And careful planning isn't just like helpful. It's absolutely key if you want to really experience its wonders. So this deep dive, it should help you handle those, what we call the wild cards.
Wild cards, like what?
You know, lodging, food, those day trips or excursions, they can feel a bit overwhelming if you're not ready for how different Alaska is.
Okay, let's jump right in then. Why is Alaska so different? What makes planning this trip unlike, say, planning a trip to Florida or California?
Well, first off, the scale. It's just staggering. A lot of the most incredible sites, think remote glaciers, hidden fjords. You often need a plane or a boat to even get there.
Okay. No roads.
Exactly. You just can't drive to everything. And for those really unique things like glacier hiking or river rafting, you pretty much need guides. You need the right gear.
Right. Specialized stuff.
Yeah. And then there's the distances between places. We're talking hundreds of miles sometimes between spots you really want to see.
Wow.
So it means you're almost certainly going to be moving around the state, not just setting up camp in one central location.
That geography really shapes the whole experience, sounds like.
Yeah.
So given all that, when's the best time to go? I'm guessing summer's the main season.
Oh, absolutely. The peak summer season, that's generally late May through to mid-September. That's when most things are open. Weather's usually best.
Okay.
But if you're dreaming of seeing the northern lights, then you're looking at late August through early April. Totally different vibe, of course.
Right. Colder. And trip length. What's typical?
Most people find 7 to 10 days hits a pretty good sweet spot, gives you time to see a few key areas.
Okay.
But, you know, even 4 or 5 focus days can work if that's all you have. And if you're lucky enough to have 2 weeks or more, well, then Alaska really opens up for deeper exploration.
All right. Now for the big one. This seems to be where everyone has an opinion. The cruise versus the land tour debate.
Ah, yes. The classic Alaska question. And, you know, there are strong points for both. A cruise, well, it undeniably makes seeing some areas much easier.
Like the coastal areas.
Exactly. Those dramatic fjords, glaciers, calving into the sea. That's prime cruise territory. And think about Juneau, the state capital.
Right.
It's a major city, but you can only get there by air or sea. No roads in or out. Cruising just floats you right into places like that.
But I imagine being on land gives you a totally different feel. Maybe more grounded.
That's the perfect word. A land tour gives you that immersive feeling. You're not just looking at the forest, you're walking in it, feeling that deep, soft moss underfoot. You're seeing those huge snowy peaks up close, maybe spotting salmon in the rivers. And you experience these vast stretches with absolutely no sign of people. It's powerful, a real disconnect.
So it sounds like doing a bit of both could be the ideal. Combining sea and land.
Very much so. A lot of experienced Alaska travelers recommend exactly that. There used to be these princess tours, for example, that did a great job combining an inside passage cruise with a land tour up to Denali.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so you get the fjords, the glaciers from the water, and then you get that deep dive into the interior, into the park. It gives you a much fuller picture, you know.
Okay, so if you are doing a land portion, what about getting around? Is driving feasible or is it tricky?
Well, driving in Alaska, it's something to consider carefully. The distances, like we said, are huge. And the roads, especially off the main paved highways, they aren't always in the best shape. Sometimes gravel, sometimes less than ideal. And for some people, honestly, the long, straight drives can get a little repetitive. Plus, and this is a big one, rental cars can be shockingly expensive.
How expensive are we talking?
We saw sources saying a basic compact car could run you like $2,000 for just 1 week.
Wow. Okay, that's significant.
It really is. So for a lot of people, the Alaska Railroad, the train, is a fantastic alternative. Great scenery, much more relaxing.
You mentioned alternatives.
Yeah.
Is there a good budget-friendly land option? Something convenient if you want freedom.
Okay, here's a real pro tip. Think about renting a motorhome, an RV. Some Alaskans even call them land yachts, kind of jokingly.
Ah, okay. A land yacht.
Yeah, they usually start around, say, $200, $250 a day, often sleeps 6 to 8 people. And the beauty is it combines your transport, your lodging, and your dining.
Ah, because you can cook in it.
Exactly. You hit the grocery stores, stock up, make your own meals. It saves a ton on food costs. And it really lets you stay closer to the places you want to visit along the road system, the main network of towns and attractions.
That sounds incredibly flexible.
It is. And surprisingly, even though that car rental is pricey, if you have 2 or more people, just renting a regular car can still sometimes save you over $100 compared to taking buses or the train everywhere. Gives you that ultimate freedom if you can swing the car cost.
Okay, let's shift gears to money. Budgeting. You mentioned the wild cards. What are they really? Where does the money go in Alaska?
Right. So unlike a lot of trips where maybe your hotel is the biggest chunk, in Alaska, the real variables, the wild cards, are your excursions, the day tours.
Ah, the flight scene, the boat trips.
Exactly. And here's the key thing. You need to kind of flip your budget thinking. You should plan to allocate a bigger slice of your budget pie to those day tours than you might elsewhere.
Why is that?
Because those are the things that really define the Alaskan experience. It's less about the fancy hotel room and more about getting out on the glacier or seeing the bears up close. Lodging and food matter, of course, but the experiences, they're paramount.
Can you give us a ballpark idea of what these tours might cost? What's the range?
Sure. Think of it in tiers. You've got shorter, more casual stuff, like maybe a 2-hour raft trip. That could be around $80 or so.
Okay.
Then there's a mid-range, like fixed-wing flight seeing could be anywhere from $150 up to maybe $550, depending on length and location. Glacier and wildlife cruises often fall between $85 and $225.
And the really big bucket list items.
Yeah, those once-in-a-lifetime things. Helicopter flight seeing with Glacier dog sledding, you're looking at around $525. An all-day, fly-out bear viewing safari, maybe $650. Guided fly-in fishing for a full day could be around $550.
So significant costs, but for potentially unforgettable experiences.
Exactly. It's about choosing which of those defines your dream Alaska trip.
What about just regular meals? Eating out, is it going to break the bank?
You know, you can find reasonable options in most towns or roadhouses along the way. Finding breakfast under $15, lunch under $20, dinner under $40, it's generally not that hard.
Okay, that's manageable.
But and this is important always carry water and some snacks with you.
Why is that?
Because services can be really far apart. You might drive 100 miles, even more sometimes, between places where you can grab food or drink. You don't want to get caught out.
Good tip. So how can someone really save money? Make this amazing trip more accessible without just eating ramen noodles.
Yeah, no ramen needed. The key is to realize that, nearly 500,000 Alaskans live along that road system. They live normal American lives. You can too.
Right.
For example, get this. A couple or even a single person renting a basic car and tent camping. They could probably do a 10-day trip for under $2,500. And that figure includes airfare.
Seriously, including flights.
Yep, assuming reasonable airfare. And a family of 4 maybe renting that motorhome we talked about. They could likely do it for under $6,000.
That makes it seem much more achievable.
It is. The insight is you can probably save around $1,500 by being smart. Pick a couple of those really high-value tours you really want to do, and then combine them with your own adventures, just driving and exploring yourself.
Okay, specific strategies then. How do we cut costs day to day? Food and lodging.
Okay, food first. Super simple trick. Buy an inexpensive cooler when you get there, or bring a packable one.
Got it.
Then load up at grocery stores in the bigger towns. Get snacks, drinks, stuff for lunches. Making your own picnic lunch at least 1 meal a day. Huge savings right there.
Smart. And lodging, besides the RV.
You can definitely save $50, maybe even $100 a night by choosing less expensive motels or looking into bed and breakfast, which can be really charming.
Okay.
But the absolute biggest money saver for lodging, tent camping.
Embracing the wilderness.
Totally. It can save you hundreds of dollars every single day compared to hotels. Campgrounds are plentiful, and usually finding a spot on weekdays is pretty easy.
And weekends?
Weekends or holidays, yeah, it's definitely smart to try and reserve state or federal campsites ahead of time if you can.
Good to know. Anything else for camping?
Yes. Do not forget bug repellent. Seriously. Get something with DT and maybe some mosquito coils for around the campsite, especially in June and July. You'll thank me.
Noted. Bug dope is essential.
Okay, shifting to packing. Given how unique Alaska is, what absolutely has to go in the suitcase?
The number one rule, the golden rule for Alaska clothing. Layers, layers, layers.
Okay, like what kind of layers?
Think Long underwear, synthetic or wool, not cotton. Then a fleece layer for insulation. And then a good waterproof but breathable outer shell jacket and pants.
You mentioned not cotton. Why is that so important?
Because cotton, when it gets wet from rain, from sweat, whatever, it just stays wet. It holds moisture, chills you to the bone.
Yeah.
Absolutely the wrong thing for potentially cool, damp conditions.
Yeah.
Synthetics or wool wick moisture away.
Got it. Avoid cotton like the plague. What about shoes?
Comfort is key, and good traction. Sturdy running shoes can work, or lightweight hiking boots are even better. Some waterproof hikers. Definitely good investment.
Okay. And we mentioned bugs. What about sun? Seems counterintuitive, maybe.
Not at all. The sun can be intense, especially with reflection off water or snow, even glaciers.
Right.
So definitely bring a brimmed hat, good for sun and rain. Good sunglasses, sunscreen.
And even in summer, having a lightweight winter cap, maybe some thin gloves or a scarf, it can make a huge difference if you hit a cold wind, especially on a boat trip or at higher elevations. Doesn't take up much space.
Good call. Now, about those bugs again.
Yeah.
How bad are they really? Do I need like a full beekeeper suit?
Haha, no, not usually. Mosquitoes are mostly a factor in June and July, and mostly in certain areas like denser forests or near standing water.
Okay.
That DEET repellent, maybe 30–40% concentration, is usually perfectly fine. Honestly, those full head nets, most people find them more annoying than the bugs themselves, usually overkill.
Okay, good to know. Any other maybe surprising items that are Alaska must-haves?
Yes, an eye mask. Seriously.
An eye mask, why?
Because in the summer, you can have 16, 18, even 24 hours of daylight, depending on where you are and when.
Oh, wow. Right. Midnight sun.
Exactly. It can mess with your sleep if you're not used to it. An eye mask is a lifesaver. Also, maybe a simple watch or alarm clock. It's surprisingly easy to lose track of time with all that daylight.
Makes sense.
Oh, and if you plan to fish, you'll need a license. But it's easy if you can get them online beforehand, or usually buy them locally from air taxi services, guides, even some grocery stores.
Okay. And just general gear for being out and about each day?
Definitely a small first aid kit. Basic stuff for blisters, cuts, scrapes, your camera. And bring lots of extra batteries, maybe an extra memory card, chargers. You'll take more photos than you think, and charging spots can be scarce out in the wild.
Good point. Never enough batteries.
A decent backpack or tote bag for carrying your layers, water, snacks for the day. A reusable water bottle is great. Fill it up whenever you can. Sustainable, saves money. Binoculars, or even a spotting scope if you're serious about wildlife. Makes a huge difference. And zipper top bags or packing cubes.
For organization.
Yeah, great for organizing clothes, keeping toiletries contained if something leaks, and separating dirty or damp stuff. Super useful.
Right.
And obviously, ID, passport if needed. Contact info. Oh, and maybe a swimsuit. Lots of hotels have pools or hot tubs. Or, if you're feeling brave, a quick dip in a lake.
Maybe. So overall dress code, is it all hiking gear all the time?
Pretty much keep it casual on land. Jeans are totally fine everywhere. Now, if you are on a cruise, some people do like to dress up a bit more for dinner or events on board the ship. But on shore, casual is the way to go.
Perfect. Okay, let's pivot now to Denali National Park. It's such a huge draw, the centerpiece for so many Alaska trips. What makes Denali so incredibly special?
Denali. It's just hard to put into words, really. It's this truly vast wilderness in interior Alaska. It feels immense. And it's a place that absolutely encourages you to kind of forge your own path, make your own discoveries.
I like that.
What's also really profound is its history. This is the traditional homeland of the Dean Athabascan people. They've lived with and been stewards of this land for literally thousands of years, and they continue those traditions today. The park itself, it was actually created way back in 1917, mainly to protect the Dall sheep you see on the mountainsides.
Got it.
And of course, it's home to Denali itself, the mountain, the high one, as the Athabascans call it, North America's tallest peak. It's just majestic. Seeing it is unforgettable.
It sounds incredible. But planning a visit there, especially with family, can feel a bit daunting with all the rules. What's the single most important thing people need to understand about visiting Denali?
Okay, the absolute key takeaway for Denali is this. You are not going to be driving your own car deep into the park. Forget that idea.
Right. I've heard that.
The park road is your lifeline into the wilderness, but mastering the bus system, understanding how it works, when to ride, when to get off, planning around it, that is the absolute key to seeing the park's beauty and wildlife.
The bus system is king. Got it. What about places to stay?
Right. There are basically no hotels inside the park proper, except for a few very remote, expensive lodges way out in an area called Kintishna. So inside the park, it's campgrounds. Outside the park entrance or in nearby towns like Healy or Cantwell, that's where you'll find hotels, motels, B&Bs.
And reservations are crucial.
Absolutely critical for camping and for those buses. Book them well in advance, especially for peak season. Don't wait.
Good advice. Fees.
Yeah, there's a park entrance fee. It's currently $15 per person, good for 7 days. Kids 15 and under are free.
Okay.
And then the transit bus fares, those vary depending on how far you go, but maybe $34 to $65 roughly. Again, kids under 15 ride free on those too.
All right. So plan ahead, book ahead, understand the bus system. What about other facilities once you're actually in the park? Food, supplies.
Inside the park boundaries, options are limited. There's one restaurant, the Merino Grill, near the main visitor center.
It's just one.
Just one. For basic groceries, snacks, ice cream, that kind of thing, there's the Riley Creek Mercantile, also near the entrance. They had laundry and showers there, too.
Okay.
Fuel. No fuel inside the park. You'll need to gas up just outside the entrance, or in Healy or Cantwell.
And this is really important. Cell service.
Ah, yes. Critical point. Once you go past mile 4 on the park road, basically just past the main entrance facilities, expect 0 cell service. None.
Wow. Okay. So you're really disconnected.
Completely. Which means it's super important to tell someone outside your group what your plans are, which bus you're taking, when you expect to be back. Just basic safety.
Good point. And pets. Can you
Right.
bring your dog?
Pets are tricky in Denali. There are a lot of restrictions. They're generally not allowed on any trails or on the buses, except for service animals, of course. Best to check the park website for the specific rules if you're thinking about it.
Okay. So near the entrance area, before you hop on a bus deep into the park, what are the must-do stops, especially if you have kids?
Definitely hit the main Denali Visitor Center first. It's excellent. Great info. Ranger programs. They show a film called Heartbeats of Denali, and they have the Junior Ranger program.
Oh, kids love those.
They do. Booklets, activities. Sometimes they have discovery packs you can borrow for scavenger hunts. Really well done. Then, just a short walk away is the Murray Science and Learning Center. It also serves as the Winter Visitor Center. They have cool hands-on stuff, exhibits. I heard they even have dinosaur tracks found in the park.
Seriously. Dinosaur tracks?
Yeah, from a relative of T-Rex, apparently, and a wolf skeleton put together by local school kids. Really engaging stuff. In winter, you can borrow snowshoes and ice grippers there for free.
That's fantastic. Anything else near the entrance?
Oh, absolutely. The sled dog kennels. You have to go see the sled dogs.
The park has its own sled dogs.
It does. They're actual working park rangers, the only sled dog team in the U.S. National Park Service. They help patrol in the winter.
That's amazing.
You can meet the dogs. They call them the fluffiest rangers, and they usually do free 30-minute demonstrations in the summer. You learn how their special 2 layers of fur keep them warm. It's a huge hit, especially with kids.
Okay, sled dogs are on the list. Now, back to the buses. How does that system actually work for getting down that long 92-mile park road?
Right, so think of that 92-mile road as this exclusive pathway into the wild. Like we said, your car stops at mile 15.
Got it.
Beyond that, it's the park's bus system. The road itself turns to gravel past mile 15, and further out, past mile 31 or so, it gets pretty narrow, often without shoulders. It's quite the drive.
So the bus options.
You've got a few choices. There's a free shuttle, the Savage River Shuttle, that just goes to mile 15 and back. Takes about 2 hours round trip. Good for a quick look.
Okay.
Then there are narrated tour buses. These are longer trips, maybe 4 to 12 hours with a driver narrating the whole way.
Oh.
More structured, maybe less ideal if you have really young kids who need flexibility.
Right.
The most popular option for flexibility is the transit bus. These are basically shuttles. You buy a ticket to a certain point, like Toklat River or Alaskan Visitor Center, but you can hop off anywhere along the way to hike, explore, and then flag down a later bus heading back when you're ready.
Hop on, hop off. That sounds great.
It really is. Key destinations are maybe Toklat River at mile 53. That's about a 6-hour round trip. Or the Alaskan Visitor Center at mile 66. That's more like an 8-hour round trip. The further you go, generally, the better your chances for wildlife sightings and views of the mountain, weather permitting.
Good to know. Any tips for riding the buses?
Yeah, a couple of key things. Eat your snacks and lunch on the bus itself, not at the rest stops. They want to avoid attracting wildlife to those areas.
Makes sense.
And if you have young kids, you must bring your own car seat or booster seat, just like in your own car. They're required on the buses.
Okay, important safety note. I heard something about a lottery.
The road lottery. Yeah, that's a special event. Usually happens for a few days right after Labor Day. People enter a lottery, and if they win, they get a permit to drive their own personal vehicle down a specific portion of the park road beyond mile 15. It's pretty coveted.
Wow, a rare chance. Okay, Denali is undeniably wild. Wildlife encounters seem likely. What's the deal with safety, especially around bears, and how do we make sure we're leaving no trace?
Encountering wildlife is definitely part of the Denali magic, and yeah, you're likely to see animals, but safety first. Always, especially with bears.
Right. What are the rules?
Maintain distance. The park rule is a minimum of 300 yards from bears. Honestly, the safest way to view any wildlife, especially bears, is from inside your vehicle or, more likely in Denali, inside the bus.
Okay. What if you're hiking?
If you're hiking, number one, carry bear spray and know exactly how to use it. Practice beforehand if you can.
Crucial.
Never, ever run from a bear. It can trigger their instinct to chase. Never approach a bear. Never get between a mother bear, a sow, and her cubs. That's incredibly dangerous.
Got it.
Don't drop your backpack hoping to distract it. That just teaches bears that humans equal food bags. And never leave food unattended, not even for a second. Pack it out or store it properly.
Okay. What do you do if you see one?
Depends on the situation. If the bear hasn't seen you, back away slowly, quietly, and change your route. If it is aware of you, maybe it looks surprised or threatened. Group up together, get your bear spray ready, wave your arms slowly over your head, talk calmly but firmly in a low voice, "Hey bear, whoa bear," and back away slowly. Don't run.
And if it comes closer?
If it approaches, stand your ground. Make yourself look big. Wave those arms. Shout sternly. Be ready with the spray. If it gets within about 20 feet, deploy the spray, aiming for its face.
Wow. Intense. What about moose? They seem less scary, but they're huge.
They're huge, and they can be dangerous if they feel threatened, especially a mother with a calf. Unlike bears, if a moose acts aggressively or charges you, your best bet is to run. Get behind a tree, a building, anything solid.
Okay, run from moose, stand your ground with bears. Got it. Now leave no trace.
Yes, absolutely fundamental in Denali. It's all about minimizing our impact. Stick to established trails when they exist.
And if you're off trail?
If you're hiking off trail, which is common in Denali, try to spread out rather than walking single file and stick to durable surfaces like gravel bars, rocks, or dry tundra. Avoid trampling fragile vegetation.
Okay.
Don't build cairns or leave any markers. Pack out everything you pack in. All trash, food scraps. And yes, this includes toilet paper and wipes.
Even toilet paper?
Even toilet paper. If you have to go, dig a calf hole 6 to 8 inches deep, at least 100 feet, that's about 40 big steps away from any water source. Do your business, then pack out the TP in a plastic bag. Cover the hole well.
Right. Respect the wilderness.
Exactly. And never, ever feed the animals, not even a crumb. It harms them, makes them dependent, can lead to them being put down. Keep wildlife wild.
Take only pictures?
Leave only footprints lightly. Leave rocks, flowers, bones, antlers where you find them. It's all part of the ecosystem and the history. There was this amazing story of a preschooler finding a caribou antler artifact that was hundreds of years old.
Wow.
Yeah, it just highlights that deep 13,000-year history of Alaskan natives living in that area. Everything there tells a story.
That's incredible. Okay, let's talk about how to explore. Hiking seems like a big one in Denali. What's the approach?
It is huge. Remember that checklist of essentials we talked about for packing? You'll need it for hiking.
Right.
The key thing about hiking in Denali, especially beyond mile 15, is that there are very few actual marked trails. It's mostly open country, off-trail hiking.
So how do you navigate?
It sounds intimidating, but it's often easier than you think, especially above the tree line. A great strategy is to use the transit bus. Ride out, scout the terrain from the bus window, find an area that looks interesting, and tell the driver you want to get off.
And then just hike.
Man,
Just hike. Explore. Use the park road itself, which is usually visible from higher ground, as your main navigational handrail. When you're done, head back towards the road and flag down the next bus going your direction.
That sounds freeing, actually.
It really is. But if you're new to off-trail hiking or want some guidance, the park often offers ranger-led discovery hikes. Those are fantastic for building confidence. Good option. Can you suggest some specific spots, maybe some easier trails near the entrance and some ideas for further out?
Sure. Near the entrance area, you've got some great established trails. Horseshoe Lake Trail is lovely, about 1.5 miles round trip. Good chance to see beavers, maybe moose.
Nice.
The McKinley Station Trail connects the visitor center area to the Riley Creek campground, about 1.6 miles one way. It has a cool suspension bridge views of the railroad trestle.
Okay. Anything more challenging?
Definitely. The Mount Healy Overlook Trail, it's strenuous, maybe 5 miles round trip with significant elevation gain, but the views from the top are just spectacular. You go through different ecosystems.
Worth the climb, sounds like. What about near Savage River, that mile 15 area?
Yeah, Savage River has some good options too. There's the Easy Mountain Mista Loop Trail, the Savage Cabin Interpretive Trail. The Savage River Loop itself is about 2 miles, pretty flat, follows the river, great for seeing marmots, maybe doll sheep up on the slopes, dipper birds in the water. There's also the Savage Alpine Trail, which is more challenging, climbs up for bigger views, can connect back to Savage River or Mountain Vista. Sometimes you can see Denali from up there on a clear day.
And further out, hopping off the bus.
Endless possibilities. Polychrome Pass, around mile 46, the views are just jaw-dropping, 360-degree panoramas of multicolored hills. Great place to just wander.
Sounds amazing.
Toklat River, mile 53, has wide gravel river bars that are easy to walk on. Surprisingly good wildlife viewing sometimes. Highway Pass, even further out, gets you up into beautiful high tundra, often with fantastic views of Denali itself if the clouds cooperate.
So many options. What about biking? You mentioned that earlier. Is that a good way to see Denali?
Biking can be fantastic, yeah. Especially for families maybe sticking to the first 15 miles where the road is paved.
Right. Paid for 15 miles, then gravel.
Exactly. So beyond mile 15, you'd want a mountain bike or at least a sturdy hybrid bike. The road's gravelly, can be bumpy, narrow shoulders.
Can you take bikes on the buses?
Yes. Most transit buses have racks on the front that can hold 2 bikes. So you could, say, ride the bus out further and then bike back.
Oh, cool idea.
Yeah, you could explore the paved loops around Riley Creek Campground, ride the nice paved bike path that goes from the visitor center area towards the Nenana River outside the park. Or, like I said, take a shuttle out to Mountain Vista or Savage River and enjoy the mostly downhill ride back to the entrance.
That sounds like fun. Any other bike tips?
Here's a neat one. In winter, after the park road closes to cars, it basically becomes this amazing, quiet winter trail. People fat bike on it then with hardly any traffic. Pretty unique experience.
Wow, fat biking in Denali. Speaking of winter, what else can you do there when it's cold and snowy, besides seeing the northern lights?
Winter's beautiful, though very different. Snowshoeing is fantastic. And remember, you can borrow snowshoes for free from the Murray Science Center.
Right, free rentals.
Cross-country skiing is also really popular on the trails near the entrance or even on the closed park road. It's incredibly quiet and peaceful then. And yeah, those northern lights, definitely a major winter draw.
Wow, okay. This has been an absolutely incredible deep dive. We've covered so much ground, from thinking about the budget differently for Alaska, those wildcard excursions, packing the right layers.
Right, and avoiding cotton?
Definitely avoiding cotton. We debated cruise versus land, talked RVs and rental cars, and then really drilled down into Denali, navigating the buses, finding the fled dogs, hiking off trail.
It really gives you a framework, hopefully, for planning that adventure.
It really does. And connecting all this back to the bigger picture, it's just so clear that Alaska offers this unique chance for discovery, for really connecting with nature in a profound way, however you decide to do it.
It really makes you think. Which leads to maybe a final thought for you, our listener, to ponder. How might planning for and then actually experiencing a trip to a place as truly wild and frankly unpredictable as Alaska, how might that change the way you think about preparation, about flexibility, maybe even about your own self-reliance back in your everyday life? Something to consider.